Right, now like a fuel, I sort of thought everybody knows how to dry brush. Not quite true. I've had a couple of questions come in of how to actually do it, so I'm going to show you this time what we're going to do. So we've got some acrylic aluminium, because most of the switches on this system are aluminium. I've readjusted the camera as well, so it should pick up the colours a bit better. Obviously painting with black, as I do a lot of it, it's very difficult to be picked up by a camera, although it's quite a high grade camera, but we'll see. And I've also hopefully sorted out the little issues we've had with focusing. Making YouTube videos is a relatively new thing to me, especially doing full builds like this monster. So please bear with me, and hopefully we'll get better as we go. Right, so we've got quite a soft flat brush. This is a Pro Art Proline, whatever that means. It's one that I've always used for dry brushing. It's nice and soft, but I like the blunt edges. So we're going to do, I'm going to load up the brush with paint, and then we're going to knock it all off. Especially with metals, this is aluminium obviously, it's going to go an absolute mile. So all we're going to do is just knock it right back, and then I'm going to dip it back in the paint again and do exactly the same thing. So we're knocking it all off the brush onto the paper towel, so there's next to nothing coming off. Now you can do this with any colour. Sorry about my computer. Knock it back. You can do it with any colour. You can do it with grey, yellow, anything like that. Now what we're going to do, we're just going to, because the brush is still a little bit, not quite enough off, is still got quite a lot of paint on it, we're going to go really gentle across those knobs and just gently scrub across to bring out the detail right the way over, everywhere on it. And the other side, the paint is starting to dry away. There's still tons on here, but she is starting to dry away. So what we'll do, we can rub it a little bit harder to get those details to show up into all the little bits. Don't worry about anything you've got in there that's been pre-painted, because it'll just look like scratching, or you can repaint it like I shall do onto this one. And that way we've got all the details we wanted shown up, metal showing through, which is fantastic. Now the other thing you can do is just drag the brush on the deck, on the bottom of the cockpit, to create again a worn look. Now hopefully the camera will pick this up this time. If you can just see on the floor underneath where the instrument panel will go, and the side panels which we've detailed up, or we've painted ready for detailing, you'll see that that's all in there. It's all come up lovely. Now what we've got to do is go with some colours. There's not too many colours according to this sheet. I'm going by the sheet. I'm going by Tamiya's build. Whether it be right or wrong, that's what I'm on. So all I'm going to do now, shake up a tin of paint. This is Rebel Red. Get the lid off with something. Pick up something neat. Get the lid off if I possibly can. Don't throw it everywhere. So I would normally use acrylic, but I haven't got an acrylic red at the moment for some unknown reason. So there's our red. Now, let's bring in. Whether this is right or wrong, I don't know. But we have here, just here, I've written them in, all because they're all in XF colours, which I used to have a full set, but I don't use them anymore. Different parts we're going to paint in. So we've got XF7, which is red, and I've got a little post office type of red, which is Revel colour. Dip it in the paint and find out exactly where the parts are that we need to paint red. So underneath the throttle quadrant we can just paint in the red. So this is tiny, so I don't know how well this is going to be picked up. And then we have that little piece there again is red. Don't have too much paint on your brush and it's not too thin. So we just got that piece of red in there, and we've got another square of red which is below that bit and in there, was it? Yeah. It's not much, it's just a touch. That's all we need, just a touch in there. Now hopefully the camera will be able to pick it up. Whether it can or not, I can't see through my little screen. It looks good to me. Now on the other side, again we have that little area here which is red. That's no problem. I think that's the lot for the red. Yep. See, there's not much colour difference in any of this. We're just using the small amounts of paint for detailing. Now I know Rob is getting me a set of brushables for our clad, so I'm looking forward to that. Right, we just want a very light grey, because it does show a little bit of a grey colour, which is XF66. It's quite a few areas, to be honest. No, it's more of a lie, there ain't that many colour parts, but that'll be fine. So, XF66, which is got a line of 4, that one there. Looking at it again, we've got one of those 4 there. Just to put a slight touch of paint on that side. That's that side done. So we keep studying the instructions. So we've got this large knob there. Just going to get that through. Knock a bit of that off, I think. And we come back to this part here. Give that little bit of paint. So that's that bit done. Clean the brush up quickly. And we're going to come back next time are some areas which are gloss black. Not many, just a couple. Just looking around. That's actually flat. Oh. Sorry about that. As I said before, this camera issue should be fixed next week. And we'll have a proper tripod over the top. Job's a good one, hopefully. Right, so we're now going to come in with a little bit of gloss black for the other parts we need to do. So we've got dial in, checking again. We've got a part, don't know what bit that's called, some sort of a grill. We paint that in. Different black always adds about a bit to the way it looks. I've got too much paint on there, this is such a thick paint. Of course, our clad is very, very thin, ideal for airbrushes, but I'm afraid it's very difficult for me to paint with. So I tend to use the usual stuff. Anyway, checking again. So we've got that little button there. It's got to be gloss black. And then we'll just paint in that handle with gloss, and this grip. Nice. And then actual joystick or paint. This is just to make it look a little bit different from the actual instrument panel surfaces. Give it a bit of a different shade, if you like, just around the bottom of that quadrant as it is in real life. You don't have to be too careful. Pick those out, that's lovely. Looking great. So we've got one more part to paint. Yeah, thought we had. This stuff is like treacle, as you can see probably. Right, knock it off. Excuse me. Right, and then just paint that in part of the instrument panel each at once. That's lovely. Now we'll allow that to dry for a few minutes, and we'll come back with a wash which I've used from day one. Hello. The guy who designed this wash is an absolute star and has done this from the day dot, and let's hope I can do as good a job as him. Right, thank you very much. Right, so I've started to detail the seat. We've got the green on for the bottle. We've got a few bits and pieces of pipes to paint, so we'll get ready for those. So we're going to get a reasonable brush, a fairly fine brush. Da-da-da-da. So we've got, this one is a 5-0. So all we're going to do is try and paint the pipework. Don't worry if it goes a little bit astray, it's not an issue, as we can come back and just touch in where it needs to be afterwards. Tighten up the lines like that. And what we're going to do is literally get some paint and gradually go across the pipes. Just drag the paint along so it's fairly tight. Bring it back just so that we've got the pipework in. I don't know how well the camera will pick it up. Should pick it up fairly well. That's one side. Now we've got a couple of parts on this side. Got a very fine piece here, pipework. And all we're doing is just dragging the paint along so that we get our pipe painted. Does come down nicely. The other way, of course, you could do this is to dry brush it, and that also gives a great effect. I need practice on my painting, so this is the best way I'm going to do it. So that's that there for the moment. Clean that brush. Get some chrome paint. Onto the palette. Who am I kidding? It's a piece of tape. Anyway, so we pick the paint up. What we're going to do is touch it on and let it flow around, because even with unthinned paint like this, she will flow and you get the finish that you want. Other side. I'll just pick these little bits out first. Sorry if I'm being quiet, but it's not the easiest thing to paint. And we can pick out these areas here. Which are all fairly silver. I don't know what they're made out of in real life. I've never been that close, or lucky enough to be that close to a sea. And And then at the bottom of the seat, I'll just paint in. Now we have a few small parts in the top part of the seat. Just to paint. That looks great. So I'm quite happy with her, apart from that one piece across. Right, so that really, apart from a dry brush, which we'll do in a minute when the paint is dry, she's ready. So we'll clean that paintbrush off. I've just got the carrier, the parachute carrier to do at the top, which I want a slightly bigger brush for. A good mix, and just touch it down. And then we're going to pick out the chute. Just having a look. This is a khaki green colour. Just colour that down. Give the whole thing a bit of a working on. You'll see my hands aren't very steady. I haven't had my medication for a couple of days due to our doctors playing me up, so I'll cut a little bit of the old shakes, if you like. Oh, that's fine, pick some up tomorrow. So we're just literally using the paint to flow right way round. Create the parachute on the top like that. So that's how I'm happy with that. What we're going to do now, before we dry brush, clean that brush off nicely. We're going to get our light ghost grey, which we used for the seat. Just take a little off the lid. You don't need a great deal, because all you're going to do is let this touch and flow, so it helps to clean up the areas and make a much tighter line. And of course this will dry back to the right colour. I don't profess to be brilliant at this, but I enjoy doing it. That's that side. A bit more paint. And what this do, it just makes the area cleaner. It gives you lines that straighter edge. As you can see. So that's that part, work on the chair done. While that's drying for a few minutes, we'll go on to our side walls. Just get some standard black. Again, these will be dry brushed. But all we want to do is make certain bits of it show up. Begin with, before we paint or we dry brush over, then she'll get a wash. Because of the angle, this is going to be seen, so push it down a bit. One's nice. Clean that brush off for a mo. What we got here? A bit more metallic. That's that done. Put that in like that. Paint on the brush with some black. Don't want a lot, he says. You could be very careful with the paint, just to make sure you get it all, but don't touch the sidewall, he says. Yep. Right, so that's those done. Did a little bit of detailing up on the rudders earlier, and again they'll get a wash very shortly. So let's clean our brush up. Clean her up. Right. Now we've got some silver paint there, so we'll get our dry brush and brush into the paint. We don't want too much. Take it off the brush as much as you possibly can, so there's next to nothing coming off onto the paint, onto the tea towel. And then we're going to dry brush this whole unit. Right, so we just carry on, go right the way around her. So this just gives us an effect. Nothing major, it just brings out the detail a little bit. right the way round. That's it. There she is, all finished. I'll show you how that, while that's being picked up. I'll change the camera settings so hopefully it'll pick up a bit quicker. That's that bit, along with our cockpit tub. We'll take out the glue tack that I had in there. Get the pad down, which I've already painted up. See what she looks like. And she just clips in. It's not quite in, it is now. And I think that looks, it's not up the standards obviously of a resin seat, but I think that looks pretty good. And I'm going to go with that. So all we got to do now, get the seat belt sorted. We'll put a small amount of glue on the inside of this. Put the lid back on the bottle of paint. That's always a handy thing to do. And then we're going to get our glue. Just gently go around the outside. We don't want to use too much paint, but we want enough to stick. So on the inside, then our seat cover goes in, and I'm quite happy with that. I think that looks pretty good. She'll sit in there. Right, what I'm doing at the moment is putting the demarcation lines in the cockpit instrument panels, or the side panels, with a bit of Flory light dirt wash. What we'll do, once we've done this, we'll leave this to dry properly, probably a couple of hours, and then we'll come back with a cotton wool bud and remove most of this, and should just about leave the demarcation lines. That's the plan. We'll use a cotton wool bud to take it off. We're also going to use a little bit of dust just to go around her. Just gives that little bit more depth to the pit that we're painting. Especially like me, if you like to detail it up yourself. Again, hopefully you'll be able to see that. I'm not sure if you will. Yeah. That's coming nicely for the demarcation lines. So that's those. Clean the brush up. And then back to the seat. I've got some just dark wash over the cushion. Not so much the whole seat, just the cushions. Just what this will do, it'll bring out the detail, hopefully, and allow this lovely detail that Tamiya has made or done into their kit. And just get the detail to show up, which is what we're looking for. And then on the main seat itself, or the pad, because it's basically all it is a pad. So just paint it. You'll be random with this, because when it dries back you want it to look like someone's been sitting in it and it's been dirty and I presume weed on. Right, so that's your pad painted, sorted. Let that dry, we'll come back to that in a little while.